Today, we are diving into Vela Bay, the first private residential launched in Bayshore precinct over the last 25 years. Over the last 25 years, there has been almost no major new private development in Bayshore area. And now suddenly, everything is changing. The government had officially unveiled the Bayshore Master Plan. And now we are looking at the first private launch right in the heart of it.
So the big question is this a rare opportunity or are buyers walking into something too early?
To understand Vela Bay, you cannot just look into the project itself. You need to understand what is happening around it, because Bayshore is not just another condo location. This is completely a new coastal town being built from scratch. We are talking about around 10,000 homes coming into the area with a brand new MRT already in place and a long-term transformation that could reshape the entire East Coast stretch.
So when you buy into Vela Bay, you are not just buying a unit, you are buying into a timeline of transformation.
Now let's talk about something very important, the land price. The Vela Bay land plot was sold in March 2025 at about 1,388 per square foot per plot ratio. Now we compare to another recent condo launch called River Modern at River Valley and was transacted at about 1,420 per square foot per plot ratio. So what does this tell us?
Developers are already entering Bayshore at pricing that are not far off from the prime locations.
And yes, this is where it gets interesting. There were a total of 8 developers bidding for this site. This is not quiet, low confidence land sales. What's even more important that the difference between the top few bids was very tight. And when you see developers bidding this close to each other, they tell you one thing very clearly, they are seeing the same upside. As you know that developers are not emotion buyers. They are not buying based on nice sea view, good vibe. They are looking at the future supply, transformation timeline, and exit price potential. So when 8 developers step in and bid so closely, it means the market consensus is strong. They believe that this area will grow, price will move, and this could become the next coastal district.
So now we come to the most important question every buyer is asking right now based on the land price. How much is the developer actually going to launch this project at?
Based on the land price, here is a realistic estimate where the launch price are likely going to be.
And this brings us to another question that buyers are asking right now. Is it still safe to enter at this price? Because let's be honest, with land costs at this level, Vela Bay is likely to set a new benchmark price for the OCR region.
What many buyers don't factor in. You are not just purchasing a unit, you are positioning yourself for what Bayshore could become in the next 10 to 15 years. Let's jump into project overview. I'll keep this short as all the information can be found in the e-brochure. If you don't have a copy yet, do drop me a message on WhatsApp, I'll send it over to you. So Vela Bay is developed by Singhai Group. If you look at their recent track record, there are popular launches like Grand Diamond, Copper and Newton, Park Clementi's and Park Colonial that perform very well in sales. Total, there are 515 units across 2 blocks and 31 stories. This put it in a mid-size category, not too small, not overly dense like those 800 to 1000 unit mega launch. Now here comes the interesting part. Talking about the car park, there are only 258 lots, which means that 50% car park ratio. And this is not by accident, this is part of the government plan push forward to a car-like lifestyle. But let me be very honest here, in OCR area like this, I personally feel that 50% is a bit quite tight. Because we are not talking about CBD living, we are talking about neighborhood setting, whereby families own car, people drive daily and visitors come over.
Imagine during Chinese New Year, your relative come visit and all circling outside finding a parking lot.
That's a very real scenario. But at the same time, we also need to understand the direction of Singapore is heading to. With MRT connectivity improving, more reliance on public transport, and younger generation less keen on driving, the government is clearly planning for the next 10 to 15 years. Not today, this becomes a very important consideration for buyers. If you are someone who relies heavily on car or has multiple family members driving, then this is something that you have to think about seriously. But if you're an MRT person or you're buying for long-term transformation, then this may not be an issue.
So again, it comes back to the same thing we have been talking about. Vela Bay is not designed for today's lifestyle only. It is designed for what Bayshore will become in the future.
Alright, now let's talk about one of the strongest selling points in Vela Bay. It's connectivity and location. Honestly, this is where project really stands out. Vela Bay is located right beside Bayshore MRT on the Thomson East Coast line. And when I say beside, I really mean just a short walk. Now why is this important? Because the Thomson East Coast line connects you directly to Marina and Orchard and Shenton Way. So from an accessibility standpoint, this is a no longer far east side old condo that people used to think. And if you are buying for investment, MRT access is not longer optional, it's an essential. Talking about lifestyle, Vela Bay is also a short distance to East Coast Park. So if you know Singapore, it's either you usually get MRT with no view in the city or sea view with poor connectivity. In Vela Bay, you are getting both. But if you're expecting everything to be ready right now, a fully mature estate, a mall downstairs, this may be too early. Which brings us to the transformation plan. The Bayshore transformation was officially unveiled in 2023, and what government planning is huge. A brand new coastal town with 10,000 homes, integrated with MRT parks and lifestyle spaces. Right now, we are in phase 1 of the transformation. This includes first BTO launches already rolling out. First GLS land plot is being sold and Bayshore MRT already in operation. And of course, project like Vela Bay coming into the market. So today you are buying the very first wave of the development. Moving forward, over the next few years, you'll start to see more residential projects coming in, new amenities, retail, and school being built, a better infrastructure and connectivities. This is where the areas start to feel more complete. And in the long term, this is where the full version of Bayshore comes into life. We are talking about fully integrated coastal lifestyle district, seamless connection to East Coast Park, and potentially even the Long Island Coastal project. This is where the real transformation realizes. But of course, this is not an overnight transformation. We are looking at a timeline of 10 to 15 years. The timeline actually tells you something very important. You are not buying into complete estate, you are buying into growth. And usually in property, the biggest upside comes when you enter during the early phase, which gives you the first mover advantage.
So is Vela Bay expensive? Because on the surface, when you look at the PSF earlier, it does look high comparing to the resales projects. But the problem is most people are comparing it the wrong way.
Let's first compare based on remaining list. To keep this consistent, we will use a 3-bedroom unit as an example. Vela Bay starting from about 2.3 million, which is about $2,700 PSF, full 99-year lease. And Costa del Sol, a resale project around 2.4 million, which is about $1,800 PSF with a remaining lease of 71 years. So this is where most buyers miss out the point. You cannot just compare PSF directly, because one is full 99-year lease and another one is already depreciated. So we adjust Costa del Sol price to full 99 years equivalent. It comes out to roughly about $3,300 PSF. So what does this mean? In terms of lease adjusted value, the resale is actually more expensive than the new launch. But of course, this doesn't mean that resales is bad. Resale give you the immediate move-in and established environment, while new launch require times.
That's not a fair comparison. Costa del Sol is already quite old, right?
Okay, then let's compare with something newer. Seaside Residences TOP in 2021, just one MRT stop away. Seaside Residences 3-bedroom entry price is about 2.4 million. So now we have two reference points. Older resale adjusted PSF is about $3,300 PSF. Newer resale list adjusted come out to be around $2,700 PSF. Similar PSF with Vela Bay. And Vela Bay sit right in between but with future transformation upside.
So when you put everything together, Vela Bay is not overpriced. You are paying for MRT convenience, a brand new coastal town, and for entering at the early phase.
Yes, you're right. So the real question becomes, are you willing to wait for the TOP and the transformation to happen? Because if you can, this pricing actually can become quite attractive in today's market. And don't forget, this is a GFA harmonized project, which means the way unit sizes are calculated today has changed. The overall quantum become lower, even though the livable space is still efficient, which actually help buyer to enter at a lower capital while still enjoying a similar usable layout.
Can you explain what is the GFA harmonization project?
Okay, let me do a quick explanation. Today, unit size are calculated differently. In the past, developer could include spaces like the aircon ledges, the void area inside the total size, but today there's no longer counted in the same way. So on paper, newer project may look smaller, but the actual usable space inside the unit is often very similar. Because the size is more efficient, the overall quantum become lower, which actually help buyers to enter into more manageable price. Buyers who are not familiar with the GFA harmonization may feel the price are high because of the high PSF. But buyers who understand how it works will realize that the overall quantum is actually very similar to the resale project. And this is exactly why over the past year, we have seen buyers shifting towards new launch. Because once they understand the pricing structure, they realize that they are paying almost the same price as a resale, but getting a brand new product, better layout and the future upside. So it's not that new launch are expensive, it's how URA guideline has changes and benefit the buyer.
So after looking at the transformation, pricing and project details, let's come to the most important part. Should you be buying Vela Bay or not?
Okay, I give you the most honest answer. Vela Bay is not for everyone because this could be a very strong entry into the next coastal district. Let's break it down. Vela Bay is the first private development in the Bayshore precinct, sitting right next to the MRT, entering at a land cost of about 1,388 per square foot per plot ratio, which already set a new OCI benchmark and which draws strong developer confidence given that 8 bidder competing in the top 2 bid, which only 0.8% apart. This tells you that this is not a random location play. This is calculated bet on the future transformation.
But let's not pretend there's no downside. This is still an evolving area. Amenities are not fully ready. Full transformation takes 10 to 15 years. Some stacks face road ECP noise and car park ratio is tight. So if you want immediate convenience, this is not the right project for you.
So who is this really for? This project is suitable for buyer upgrading for HDB, investor who understand transformation timing, and on-stay buyer who value MRT, coastal lifestyle. But if you're looking for a quick flip and comparing based on today's environment, only then you are likely buying a wrong product.
So to summarize all together, from a pricing standpoint, is Vela Bay overpriced? No, because when you factor in GFA harmonization, lease adjusted comparisons, and surrounding resale prices, it is actually fairly positioned in today's market.
So at the end of the day, Vela Bay Bay is not about buying a finished product. It is about entering at the start of a new town cycle. If you are looking to invest in property, timing matters more than anything. So is this a villa or wala? You decide. I'm Bendon.
And I'm Jovel.
We are from Bendon and Jovel's home. So if you want the exact stack to target, best entry price, and whether this project actually makes sense for you, do drop me a message. I'll break it down for you. And if you value this kind of analysis, please follow us and subscribe. See you in the next video.